What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with another vintage collection market update, and we've got everything from some early TVC 1.0, one or two graded items, a couple of vehicles, and then some recent releases, so we can take a look at what some of the resale prices are already doing for very recent releases, including that hot rescue set Mandalorian kind of multi-pack. Beautiful packaging, not for me, but the prices were pretty surprising based on the suggested retail price versus what they're already reselling for on eBay. As always, I release all my videos 24 hours early to Patreon supporters. If you're interested in becoming a Patreon supporter, it's patreon.com/actionfiguregrader. And this is one that's near and dear to my heart since I just received a beautiful example, actually two beautiful examples, from Chet O and Mike C. They sent these as gifts, as we covered in a video about a week ago, and this is the foil version of General Grievous, and this card back looked to be in pretty good shape overall. Just a very, very slight amount of edge wear above the hang tab there, but how beautiful is that card? It is awfully nice. Here's the back of the card. Again, just some very light kind of litho wear there towards the hang tab, but overall, pretty nice example. Probably like an 85 grade would be my guess. That one sold for $149.99 plus $8.12 shipping. So another data point for those of you that watched my video and said, I want to get one of those too. Well, you're looking at about 150 or so for an unpunched retail example. The non-foil, that's going for $200 to $225 on average. Just depends on the seller and when the auction ends, if it's a buy it now, things like that. But a couple of data points there for General Grievous. This is an interesting one, and I forgot, I'm sorry I forgot who sent this to me, but this was an item that somebody sent me in a private message, and this is a 2010 Wave 1 sealed Hasbro case. So this is where the vintage collection started, and it's really interesting that someone still had a 12-pack full of vintage collection figures, and here's what was included in the Wave 1. We had Boba Fett, the AT-AT Commander, Zuckuss, Leia Hoth, C-3PO, Han Hoth, Luke Bespin, Dengar, Cloud Car Pilot, and Vader. And wow, that's a pretty nice assortment to get in one sealed box. And I'm assuming that somebody purchased this and sent that whole box in to AFA or one of the grading companies as is. And when you do that, when you send it just like this, you probably want to double box it though, just to be safe. But if you send it in just like this and it's factory sealed, that will get you what's called the uncirculated grading. So, you know, when we take a look at graded items like vintage Kenner or, you know, anything like that, and you see that U on the label or uncirculated written out, that's what it's referring to. Somebody sends in a sealed case just like this, and every item is opened by the graders, and then they grade it, you know, the condition of it, and they will add an uncirculated designation. Me personally, I don't particularly care about the uncirculated designation, but there are some collectors, especially modern collectors, that like to have that on, especially on recent releases, just because they know it's only been handled by the grading companies. I'm not picky. I don't particularly care whether it's uncirculated or not. I just care about the grade, you know, being nice, you know, very nice, high quality, near mint plus. But pretty awesome assortment for that Wave 1, and this is kind of a piece of collecting history for those of you that collect the vintage collection. You just don't see these for sale often. Anyway, it was $800 was the list price. There was the best offer accepted, and I apologize, I forgot to look it up on 130point.com what these best offer accepted were, but $800 plus $20 shipping, and it was a best offer accepted. But pretty cool to see that, and thank you to whoever sent me this in a private link. I just totally forgot who it was. It's been about a week or so, and I've been meaning to kind of show this on the channel, and I keep forgetting to do it. So thank you again. Several 3-packs did sell. This is the villain set, the Target exclusive with the Sand People, Boba Fett, and Red Snaggletooth. This is an item I have in my collection. I've got a pre-production example that was sold to me courtesy of Anthony P., who has a very, very massive prototype vintage collection. And he parted with a prototype version of this, a test shot, factory test shot. This one was in really great shape, and it sold for $49.99. I thought that was a great deal. I looked up kind of previous data points, and the highest I found was $75. So not terribly expensive, and much less expensive than if you, say, bought the vintage Kenner example of the special action figure set. Much more economical to get this Target exclusive. And this was an interesting sale as well. This was for all three of these, and this included the Cave of Evil, the Bespin Alliance that has Luke, Lando, and a Bespin guard. Look how, I always talk about this, but look how ugly that Bespin guard is. That Bespin guard looks like Sigourney Weaver fighting the aliens. I mean, this thing is just hideous. I'm glad that they updated that for the recent release. And then the droid set, the R5-D4 Death Star droid and the power droid. So all three of these were included. The Bespin Alliance was unpunched. The other two were not punched. That one, this lot of three sold for $65 plus $13 shipping. I thought that was a pretty great deal. Next up, Padme Amidala, the Peasant Disguise. This was an unpunched example, the US card back. This was sold over in the UK, $89.99 British pounds, and it was a best offer accepted, but pretty clean card back, and a nice picture there of Natalie Portman on the front. But this was the US card. It did not have kind of the warning stickers, the multi-language warning stickers that you see for most European releases. Next up, we've got Luke Skywalker, the Death Star Escape version. This is one that seems to be kind of creeping up in price, and it's kind of held steady. And obviously, the figure mold really is in bad need of an update. But I mean, it looks, I don't know what's going on with Luke there. It's not a great portrayal of Luke. But this has the prototype Boba Fett armor, and it was unpunched. This was the US cardback, VC39. And that one was listed for £85 plus shipping, and that one did sell best offer accepted as well. This one really surprised me. This was an 8.0 graded rocket-firing mail-away Boba Fett. So 8.0 is not particularly high. It seems like most modern collectors, if they collect graded, they like to at least get 8.5 or 85, 90s, things like that. But this was an 8.0 grade, and it still sold for $325. So big number for kind of a, you know, I'd call it like a near mint minus example of the Boba Fett. But another data point for those of you still looking for him. And then here was a pretty clean-looking prototype VC61 Boba Fett. The photos weren't terribly great, but it looked pretty good. They still had him in the star case, which, you know, you never know exactly what you're getting, but at least the photos in the star case look pretty good. And it sold for $130 plus $8 shipping. That's kind of right in line with where the prototype Fett typically sells, anywhere from kind of 120. I've seen as high as 150 ungraded. And then I did, one of my subscribers did reach out and was able to pick up a really nice near mint plus example for $86 in a auction here recently. So with a little bit of patience, maybe you can find a good deal out there. Just depends on when the auction's ending. Here is, I can never pronounce this guy's name, Fiexersh. This is from the Attack of the Clones. This was a punched example, VC49, and it was listed for 230 Australian dollars. Which that's about, you know, a little under 100 US dollars, and it was best offer accepted as well. But it was punched, and it did have a little bit of wave to the card, as you can see, a little bit of edge wear in the bottom left-hand corner. You know, a little bit of scratching over there by the hang tab. So by no means a near mint example, but you know, it was again listed for about, you know, let's call it about $90 US, and it was a best offer accepted. Here is the ARC Trooper Commander. Captain Fordo, if you feel like talking dirty to me. This is VC54, and this is a punched example. It did have a little bit of wear, as you can see above the hang tab there. The rest of the card looked pretty good. That's a great card back, by the way. And here is the back of the card. A little bit of wave, but nothing terrible on it. US card. But that one sold for $120. $120 free shipping. So pretty decent price. Now, we've documented a couple of unpunched examples that have sold here recently in the 140 range. So that gives you an idea of the discount on this one, given that it was punched and it did have just some slight wear above the hang tab. Here was Aura Singh. This was sold in an auction. It was unpunched, and the US card again, VC73. That one sold for $72.99 in an auction on September 19th. But this is one I don't have in the collection, but pretty great card back, pretty awesome figure as well. Love the eyes on her. She looks like she hasn't slept in a few days. She has been on a meth bender, just judging by her eyes and her skin color there. But $72.99 took that one home. I got a couple of examples of the Gungan Warrior, one graded, one ungraded. And here was the ungraded, unpunched US card back. Pretty great figure as well. Lots of nice color to it. And I do like that card art as well. And let's see if we can take a look at the back. The back had just a little bit of curl in the bottom right-hand corner on the back there. Just some very slight edge wear all the way around. Probably like a low 85 grade if I had to pick a number. This sold for $59 on 2 bids plus $7.50 shipping. And now let's compare that to a graded, AFA graded example. that was in very high grade. It was an AFA 9.25. And I'll give it a couple seconds. I'll let you guys decide what you think the price difference is for the ungraded one that's in, you know, has some minor issues to the card back, that sold for, let's call that about 68 bucks. And then the AFA 9.25 sold for $150, free shipping. So here's the exact same item, but just minty fresh, graded 9.25 on the modern scale by AFA. So $150 free shipping, took that one home. Next up, we've got another data point for that Bounty Hunters 2-pack. This was a Star Wars Celebration exclusive, and as you can see, Forlom and Zuckuss are still inside the kind of the packaging there. And we documented one that sold for just big money, but this price came down a little bit versus those. This one sold for $132.49, or about 176 Canadian dollars plus shipping on that one. But those are two beautiful foil card backs. Next up, I had a lot of two here. This included the Endor AT-ST Crew special action figure set that was a Kmart exclusive. And it also included a mint and sealed box Skywalker that was also the Kmart exclusive. So for both of those together, that sold for $170. And I also did find another data point for the Endor AT-ST Crew just by itself. That one sold for $68. So a couple of data points for those of you who like some of these store exclusives from way back in the day. This was another interesting one. This was a factory error, the original issue of VC92 Anakin Skywalker from the Clone Wars. But this was a factory error, and as you can see on that bubble there, there was no lightsaber packed in. Neither the regular lightsaber that has like the blue, you know, attachment, or the handle. It was just the figure by itself. It also does have the paperwork in there, but no Darth Maul sticker. So it's got a couple of weird things going on with this, and the seller was really good to actually show the waffle pattern on the seal there, so that you know that it was actual true factory error. And that one was listed for $300, best offer accepted, plus $9.45 shipping. So some people are really into these kind of factory errors where they're missing accessories or an unpainted part or something like that. I don't necessarily get into kind of missing accessories, but you know, that market has certainly held up pretty well. Obviously, there's miscards too, the factory error miscards where you have the wrong action figure on the wrong card back. Those are typically very expensive, but this one was listed for $300, best offer accepted. Next up, we have a VC-115 Darth Vader Emperor's Wrath, another data point for those of you looking for this one. This one did have a little bit of wear above the hang tab, as you can see, and maybe just some fading going on with the card back, although that could just be reflections as part of the photo process. But very cool card back and a great figure. I always love seeing that translucent helmet with the Emperor's lightning kind of surrounding him. Anyway, that one sold for $107.50 on 3 bids plus $689 shipping. That one sold on September 19th. And again, here's the back of the card, US card back, VC-115. Now I've got some more recent modern releases, and I thought this was worth showing. We've talked about it at length on the channel, but this is VC-204 Antok Merrick. This is the pack-in for the Target exclusive Rogue One X-Wing, and this is very timely for the new Andor series that's out. And what I find interesting on this one is that based on the photos, it looks like it does not have any of the scratching that's going on up here up near the 4+ or above the hang tab. So because of the packing process that Hasbro had for this mint on card Antok Merrick inside the box with the X-Wing, typically these have scratches, but on this one it doesn't look like it has anything. I don't know what's going on right here. It kind of looks like some scratches there, but anyway, you know, this is much cleaner than the one I have in my collection. But that one sold for $127, and I found a number of different mint and sealed box, the whole X-Wing with the figure, that have sold for about this price. So this just shows you that some collectors are willing to pay up because they're guaranteed to have a card back that does not have that factory packaging issue with the scratches on the front of the card back. Another recent release is VC-247, the Mandalorian Death Watch Airborne Trooper. How great is that card back? It is just an awesome card back to look at here. I've got some issues going on. Here we go. So look how beautiful that card art is. Absolutely awesome. I think I have this one pre-ordered with Big Bad Toy Store. Don't quote me on that, but I think I did get one of these. But just an awesome looking figure. I love all the weapons it comes with. And that blister is pretty big. Somebody brought that up. I think it was Joey or somebody that was watching and asked a question about that. This blister is definitely a little bit wider than usual, and it kind of creeps in on that card art. But anyway, that one sold for $27 on 23 bids, and looked to be pretty clean overall, plus $6 shipping. So that's going for, let's call it almost 2 times what the retail version is, and maybe even above two times. So that clearly the market has dictated that this is one to pick up, and people are definitely trying to. Any kind of recent release, it seems like they have a little bump in price early on, and they kind of come back down a little bit, and then maybe long term we might start seeing creeping back up again. But at least right now you're looking at about, let's call it $33 shipped for a near mint example of that airborne trooper. Finally, I wanted to finish off with this rescue set. These were in hand, at least this one was. And, this, I think that the suggested retail price on this one was $75 to $80. This one sold, this was in China. This one sold for $110 plus $63 shipping. So somebody was just willing to pay over double just to make sure that they got this in hand. They're just too impatient to wait for it to hit the U.S. market. But please don't pay that. That's $173. That's over 2 times what the MSRP is for this item. But, again, I think it's cool, but it is a repack to a certain extent. It's not for me, but it is kind of an interesting item. I think that the card art, or the box art, excuse me, is a little lackluster. They could have done maybe a little better job with that. It just kind of shows the close-ups of the figures. But anyway, to each their own. But somebody was willing to pay $173 shipped for that one. And then here was another one that was also in Hong Kong, and it was in hand, and this one sold for $185 shipped. So again, just be patient with some of these really brand new releases that everyone's super excited about. Again, it was an SDCC item, so I don't think you're going to be getting it for the MSRP, but $185 shipped seems very, very expensive to me. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this look at some recent sales within the Vintage Collection line. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back soon.